Okay, so hi and good afternoon. I want to thank you first for being here today. So, my name is Siti Najla and I'll be your interviewer. Before we begin, can you please introduce yourself a bit, like telling about your name, age, where you are from, and what are you studying currently?
Okay, sure. So, hi, my name is Nimra, and right now I'm 26 years old, and I'm from Pakistan, Islamabad specifically, and I am studying right now. I'm studying PhD in business management. Yes, that's all.
Okay, so that sounds great. Nice to meet you, Nimra. So now let's move
Nice to
on. Okay, so now let's move on to the questions, shall we?
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
firstly, let's talk about the history of English in your country. So, can you share a bit about how English was first introduced? Was it mainly through education or were there other influences?
Okay, so as you know, I'm from Pakistan, right? So before Pakistan was actually Pakistan, it was the subcontinent, India and Pakistan mixed, right? India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all three of these were the subcontinent. So the British actually ruled over the subcontinent, and that's how English had been introduced into the subcontinent through the influence of the British people. So as the Britishers were living in like harmony with people from Pakistan and India, all the Muslims and Hindus, so they actually influenced the people to speak more and more English. So in schools, there were like basics, normal schools that they had, the government schools, and they also had the British schools. So people who were well versed, they actually went to the British school, and moreover, people also found it like people who had money or people who had connections actually went to Britain to study, like to study more about law or even politics, because at that time politics and law were the main subjects that were um, taught readily everywhere. So yeah, that's how English had been introduced into the subcontinent. But nowadays, it has been very easy for people in Pakistan to speak English because it's like now it's not a national language, but it is the official language of Pakistan. Yes.
Okay, thank you. That is very insightful for me. So, over the
Yeah.
years, like, how do you think the use of English has evolved in your country? Like, has it become more common in schools and social settings?
Yeah, it has become really common nowadays. People, especially in schools, children are taught English from like a very young age when they actually join a school and they start a kindergarten and first classes or second class. They're taught basic letters ABC from the start, and then they go on forward with it till the end. Especially the medium of instruction in the schools in Pakistan is actually English. Especially in universities also the medium of instruction is English. But there are some universities and some colleges that are like government based and are in the rural areas of Pakistan. So there, not a lot of English has been spoken, but people can actually understand and speak it. So I think it has evolved a bit, even in social settings and even in the school settings in Pakistan. Overall, it is widely spoken and everyone can understand and actually answer you. If they cannot speak, they can actually understand it. Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. That is very interesting. So, next is like, do you think younger generations today are more comfortable using English compared to older generations? If so, why do you think that is the case?
Okay, so yeah, I think younger generation is more comfortable using English nowadays as compared to the older generation because English has become a widely used language in Pakistan during the recent years. I think it's starting from 2000s. It had become more common in Pakistan, whereas beforehand it was just treated as a language, right? English was just treated as another language that you should know about and you should actually like for you to converse when it is needed, not on a daily basis. But nowadays, teenagers and even small children in Pakistan are basically communicating in English because the school work is in English. Wherever the friends they have there speak English, but that also depends on the place that you're living in. If you're living in an urban city like Islamabad, Lahore, Karachi, then it's actually modernized. So people actually do speak English there. But if you are talking about like the rural areas of Pakistan, like inside Punjab and inside Sindh, then not a lot of people over there readily speak English. The young generation do, but they don't find the need to do so. They actually speak in their mother tongue. But the older generation find it a bit odd. Like they don't find it a bit difficult. They just don't like speaking English a lot because they think that if they do, then they would be no different from all the other people who speak English. So they actually try to speak in their mother tongue, either it's Punjabi, either it's Urdu, either it's Hindi or any other language. Yes.
Okay, okay. Okay, now let's discuss about the positive impacts.
Sure.
What are some of the biggest advantages of the increasing use of English in your country? Has it created more job opportunities or made communication with people from other countries easier?
Yeah, so both of these cases are true. Like it has also increased job opportunities, and it has also made communication with people of from other countries easy. Nowadays, there are lots of companies from US, UK, Canada coming into Pakistan, and they are opening their branches here, and they're hiring people from Pakistan even. So that has been due to the like overuse of English in the country. People are actually comfortable speaking, and they are actually really involved in like learning English and speaking to other people, and they actually like communicating in English. So that has also like created many job opportunities. There are big companies like Motive that are working in Pakistan, and they are obviously all of them speak in English, and you have to deal with clients that are from the US, UK, Canada, and all. So yeah, job opportunities, yes, definitely. Moreover, it's also like the social setting has also improved. Pakistan's social setting, it has also improved quite a lot because of the use of English and people knowing how to actually converse with each other. Yes.
Okay, so while English has so many benefits, like you just said, are there any negative effects that come with its increasing use in your country? Like, for example, do you think it might be replacing local languages or affecting cultural identity?
Okay, so I don't think that the increasing use of English will be replacing local languages because people actually, English is being used in unofficial setting, like when you're working or when you're actually talking to someone from another country. But in our daily lives, we actually speak our local languages. Like in my daily life, I actually speak Urdu with my family, with my friends, or anyone else, right? So when I'm working, I actually shift to English. Otherwise, I basically speak my local language. So I don't think it will be replacing it anytime soon. But yeah, there are some negative effects. Like people actually, like if you're speaking English with your friends or in a normal setting, people think that oh he or she has become more westernized. They're losing their roots and all. Mostly the older generation, right? So they think that you're just portraying yourselves to be from another country and all. So these are kind of the negative impacts, but they're just a little bit, not a lot. You can easily like overgo them, but maybe the older generation does think that Pakistan is becoming more westernized and like losing its roots, but I don't think it's that way. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That is very important is perspective for me. So now, let's talk a little about pronunciation and phonology. Are there any specific English sounds that people in your country find difficult to pronounce? Why do you think these sounds are challenging?
Okay, so it actually depends on where you are from, right? If you're belonging from Punjab, then people actually find it a bit difficult to like get the pronunciation right when you're actually talking about the like accents, right? the accents are the main thing here. I don't think there's much to pronunciation because people actually know how the phonetics and all of that because they actually teach that when you're a kid here in Pakistan. But I think it's basically the accents that are difficult for us. So if you're talking about the UK accent, and people actually find it very difficult to understand the British and the Scottish accent. So if supposedly there's a big difference with how the UK pronounce water, how we pronounce water and they pronounce water. That's the basic example I can give you, right? So even if they're saying water, so people here, they don't understand what they're asking for, right? But we just actually pronounce it as water, simple water. Every sentence, every letter is actually pronounced that way it is said. But so I think the basic differences would be in accent, the UK accent, the British accent, and the American accent. People normally, we have grown and learned the British accent in school, right? Our studies are actually related to the British curriculum. But people who now watch movies and they converse with other friends and all actually adopt the American accent, right? So there is a bit of difficulty in that also with how the words are structured, right? Spellings, especially. There are some differences in the Z and S sounds, right? Yeah. So the Americans use S and the British use the Z sound. So that also makes a big difference here in Pakistan if you're using S or if you're using Z. Officially, we use Z in because the British use that, and generally we use the S when we're talking or when we're writing it down. So yeah, that's how things are here in Pakistan.
All right. So, do people from different regions of your country pronounce English words differently? Like, can you give some of the examples of regional accents or variations?
Okay, so yeah, I can give you some examples. Like I told you that people in Punjab, right? So I'll give you a basic example. Like it's like ice cream, right?
Mhm.
So we say ice cream normally, right? But people from the actual rural background areas from Punjab do not say ice. Ice, they cannot pronounce ice, right? Yeah. So they say like s, right? So ice, instead of ice, they say as cream, not cream. Cream is also like cream is cream, right? But they don't say cream, they say cream. So yeah, so it's a big difference here when you say basic words like that. So yeah, that's one example I can easily give you.
Okay, that's really fascinating to know. So, what about differences between older and younger generations? Like, do they pronounce English words differently?
Okay, so I don't think there's a difference between the older and the younger generation while pronouncing the words, right? But there's just this difference of the accents I told you, British and the American, right? So the older generation, as they have lived and they have grown and all of that, so they were more exposed to the British style of English, this British accent. So they actually speak in that way and they actually pronounce words that way. But the younger generation, as they're more into movies, they're more into Netflix, and they're more into all of the other stuff. The American accent has taken over, and the people use like the younger generation uses slang words like for real and what even and all of that. So the older generations, they don't get these words. They're like, "What are you talking? What are you saying?" So these are some of the examples. Yeah, the older generation actually speaks prim and proper English, how it should be spoken, yeah. But we just speak it in a way that just gets our point across, and we're just having fun and all. So yeah, those are the major differences. Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, like, do people in your country sometimes mix the pronunciation of English and their native language in the same sentence? What do you think? Why do you think this happens?
Okay, so this is basically because I think this is basically because people do not use English a lot. native people do not use English a lot. They use their native languages, which is Sindhi, Pashto, Punjabi, Urdu, right? So these are some of the basic languages that we have. There are more than that. There are like 80 plus languages spoken in Pakistan. But the basics that everyone knows are these three or four. So people actually generally use these native languages wherever they go, even when they're going out for shopping, even when they're with their friends or family or everyone else, right? So sometimes when they switch, right, between English and Urdu and English and Punjabi and something like that. So that actually makes the whole sentence seem a bit weird, right? So if I mix Urdu with English, so I can easily, like, I'll give you a basic example, right? I know you won't understand Urdu, but I'll just give you a basic example. So like अगर मैं उर्दू में बोलूँ and I speak in Urdu, so these are the things that तो आपको ये नहीं समझ आएगी कि मैं क्या कह रही हूँ, right? So you wouldn't understand what I'm saying. So the thing is that when people actually right now, even if I was speaking to you, I was actually inclined to say some words in Urdu while I was speaking to you, but I stopped myself. So these are some of the few things that actually do happen here in Pakistan, and that is because people actually don't use English that much. Only when they're in the official settings. As I told you, it's the official language of Pakistan. So mixing up is very common here. They actually mix Urdu and English a lot, even when we're in official settings. Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So, for the last question, let's talk about y'all's intonation. Like, how does the intonation, like rise and fall of the voice in English spoken in your country, different from that of English native speakers?
Okay, yeah, so that is a little bit different. It is a little bit different, and I think that's how accents are actually made, right? So, right now, I think people in Pakistan don't actually classify as having any accent as like UK or British. We're somewhere in the middle. So the rise and fall of speech intonation, it actually depends on how you actually learn English, right? Or how you have grown and spoken it. So if you're from the Punjab and you're speaking Punjabi is like a very loud language, right? So when you're speaking Punjabi, you're actually, and if you speak English in that way, the English also becomes a bit loud and a bit really, like, you can say outrageous if you're there speaking it in that way. But if you're from the Pashtun province, right? So the Pashto language is a bit similar to Arabic and Persian and all of those other languages, right? So if Pashto speaking people speak English, they actually speak in a nice accent, which is different from what people in Punjab speak with. Right, their intonation, the rise and fall of their speech is actually comparable to the British people. Right, they actually have that same accent. So yeah, that also depends on their like mother tongue, which is Pashto, right, their language. So if you do a bit research about Pashto, you'll come to know that it's actually a really old language. So when they speak, their rise and fall is as comparable to the ones as Britishers do. But if people from like Punjab and Sindh, like Karachi, Islamabad, Lahore, when we speak, it's basically a normal language. We like speak in a way that we want to, right? Our rise and fall of words is as we want them to be, not as it should be, or it should like be as in grammar or how the word should be spelled or pronounced or said, right? So it's just our own way of communicating. But when there's this difference that we have in people from different regions of Pakistan, like especially the KPK region and the Punjab region. Yeah, so that's how it made a difference in intonation and sounds.
Okay, so that's all. That was a very insightful discussion. So
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much for sharing all your thoughts and experiences with me today. I really appreciate your time. So before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, there's not much that I would like to add. I just want to say thank you for choosing me for your interview, and I had a really nice discussion with you. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, that's wonderful. Once again, thank you for your time. Have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.